The stealing of clothes. Skanda 10, chapter 22. In the first month of dewy season, Agrahanya, the girls of Vrindavana worshipped Katyayani. The name of God is Durga, wife of Shiva. The observances lasted for a month. The girls prayed to Katyayani that they might get Krishna for their husband. They bathed early in the morning every day in the river Yamuna. One day they left their clothes on the bank and went down into the river to bathe. Krishna took away their clothes. He asked the girls to come up and take them. They did so, and the clothes were returned. Krishna, then addressing the gopis, said, O virtuous girls, I know your resolve. It is to worship me. I also approve of it, and you must succeed. The desires of those that are absorbed in me do not bear karmic fruits, for fried or burnt paddy does not germinate. Go back to Vraja. Your object in worshipping Katyayani is gained. These nights you shall enjoy with me. Krishna and Vedic Yagna. Summer again. Skanda 10, chapter 23. Krishna went over to a distant forest driving cattle with his companions. The summer sun was fierce and the trees gave shade. Look, O companions, said Krishna, how noble minded these trees are. They live for others. Themselves they suffer from the winds, the rains, from the sun and frost, but they protect us from these. They do not send away one disappointed. They offer their lives, leaves, their flowers, their fruits, their shade, their roots, their bark, their fragrance, their juice, their ashes, their fuel, their buds, and what not. Of all living beings, such only justify their birth as do good to others by their lives, their wealth, their wisdom, and their words. This is introductory as an attack upon the selfish performances of Vedic Brahmanas. The boys became hungry and they complained to Rama and Krishna. Krishna said, the Brahmanas are performing Angirasa Yagna. Take our names and ask them for food. The boys did as they were told, but the Brahmanas heeded them not. Narrow were their desires which did not extend beyond Swarga. But for these they went through elaborate karma. Ignorant as they were, they thought themselves to be wise. Yagna was all in all to them, but they disregarded the Lord of Yagnas, the direct manifestation of Paramapurusha. They looked upon Krishna as an ordinary man, and as Brahmanas they deemed themselves to be superior to him. They said neither you nor nay, ya nor nay. So the boys returned unsuccessful to Krishna and Rama. Krishna smiled and asked them to go to the wives of the Brahmanas. This they did. The Brahmana women had heard of Krishna and they were eager to see him. Notwithstanding the protests of their husbands, brothers, sons, and friends, they hastened to Krishna with dishes full of eatables of all sorts. The ears had heard and eyes now saw, and it did not take the Brahmana women long to embrace Krishna and forget their grievances. Knowing that the women had given up all desires for the sake of seeing Atma, Krishna said smilingly, welcome, O you noble minded ones. Take your seats. What can we do for you? It is meet that you have come to see us. I am Atma, and therefore the most beloved. Those that care for their Atma or self bear unconditional and unremitting bhakti towards me. The pranas, buddhi, manas, the relatives, the body, wife, children, and riches all become dear for the sake of self or Atma. What can be therefore dearer than Atma? Now that you have seen me, go back to your husbands. They have to perform the sacrifices with your help. The Brahmana women replied, Lord, thou dost not deserve to speak so cruelly to us. Make good thy words. My bhakta does not meet with destruction, or he does not again return. We have taken the shelter of thy feet, throwing overboard all friends, that we may bear on our heads the Tulasi throne from thy feet. Our husbands, parents, sons, brothers, and friends will not take us back. Who else can? Grant us, O conqueror of all enemies, that we may have no other resort but thee. We may not have such resorts as Swarga, for which our husbands are striving. We want to serve thee. Sri Krishna replied, your husbands will not bear any grudge against you. By my command, all people Even the devas, in whose honor the sacrifices are made, shall approve of your conduct. Direct contact is not necessary for love. Think of me with all your heart, and you shall speedily obtain me. The Brahmana women returned to their husbands, and they were received well. The Brahmanas repented, but for fear of Kansa, they could not go to Vrindavana. They worshipped Krishna at home. Indra and the raising of Govardhana, the installation. The rainy season again. Skanda 10, chapter 24 to 27. There were great preparations for yagna in honor of Indra. What is this all about, father? Asked Krishna of Nanda. What is the outcome of this sacrifice? In whose honor is it to be performed and how? Nanda replied, child, Indra is a cloud god. He will give us rains. The rains give life to all beings. Therefore, people worship Indra by these sacrificial offerings. The enjoyment of that only which remains after sacrifice conduces to dharma, artha, and kama. Krishna replied, the birth and death of men are shaped by their own karma. Happiness, misery, fear, well being, these are all the effects of karma. If there be any God who dispenses the fruits of karma, he must also follow that karma and not act independently of it. When people are governed by their own karma, where does Indra come in? He cannot undo what follows from Swabhava. Karma is a lord, and karma is to be worshipped. It is Rajas that works the clouds. What can Indra do? We do not live in towns or villages, but we live in the forest. Therefore, let us make yagna offerings to our cows, our brahmanas, and our hills. The preparations that you have already made will serve the purpose. Nanda and other Gopas approved of what Krishna said. They made offerings to the cows, the brahmanas, and the hill. They went round the hill to show respect. Krishna said, I am the hill. They assumed some form which created faith in the Gopas. He then partook himself of the offerings to the hill. Indra became highly incensed. He sent forth his clouds and winds, and there were rains and thunderstorms and hailstones at Vrindavana. Krishna carelessly lifted up the Govardhana hill with one hand, and the people of Vrindavana with their cows took shelter in the cave. For 7 days it rained incessantly, and for 7 days Krishna held the hill aloft without moving an inch. Baffled and surprised, Indra withdrew his clouds and winds. The people of Vrindavana went to their own places, and Krishna replaced the hill. The Gopas, struck with wonder, approached Nanda. They related all the previous deeds of Krishna, and then, referring to the last incident, said, look here, this boy, only 7 years old, and there the holding aloft of this big hill. We wonder whether your son may not be the Atma of all beings. Nanda related to them what he had heard from Garga, and they all ceased to wonder. Indra and Surabhi came down from the heavens. Indra fell at the feet of Krishna and glorified him. Krishna said to him, to favor you, Indra, I caused a break in your yagna that, maddened as you were by your position and powers, you might not forget me. It is only when one is blinded by powers that one does not see me scepter in hand. I take away the powers of him whom I want to favor. Therefore, go now, Indra. You ought to keep to your own station and do your duties as enjoined by me, void of all pride. Surabhi, the divine mother of cows, thanked Krishna for the services done to her children. She said, O Krishna, O thou great yogi, whose form is this universe and who are the root of this universe? We have found our Lord in you. Thou art our supreme Deva, O Lord of the universe. Thou shalt be our Indra for the good of cows, Brahmanas, and Devas, and of all that are good. By the command of Brahma, we shall install thee as our Indra. So saying, Surabhi poured her milk over Krishna's head, and Indra and other devas, by the command of the Deva mothers, bathed him with the waters of Akashaganga. They all called him Govinda. He who attains Binda as Indra, the cows, or Swarga, called Go. He who attains Vinda as Indra, the cows, or Swarga, called as Go. The rishis, Gandharvas, Vidyadharas, Siddhas, and Charanas all joined the inauguration ceremony. The Deva girls danced and sang. The three lokas became full of joy. The cows wet the earth with their milk. The rivers bore streams of milk and other drinks. The trees poured honey. The cereals bore grains without culture. The hills brought forth their precious stones. Even the wild animals became mild.